because it still requires communities to negotiate things such as maintenance funding. FSIN Chief Bobby Cameron says overall the government did not take enough time to draft the bill, and it was done without enough consultation.
They'll say we consulted and we sent some funding, but that's not enough. I mean, it's not enough to ram through legislation to say this is the good work we're doing. More time is needed. It's just that simple. You cannot rush something so vital, something that is life or death, such as water. You just can't rush it.
There are currently 28 long-term drinking water advisories in 26 First Nations communities across Canada. Fraser Needham, APTN National News, Ottawa.
Well, we want to hear what you think about the proposed First Nations Clean Drinking Water Act, or anything else you'd like to reach out about. Here's how to continue the conversation. If you have a story you want to share, send us an email to news@aptn.ca. To read and watch our stories, you can go to our website. That's aptnnews.ca. And you can find us online on social media sites, including TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, and X. Please follow APTN News to join the conversation and see our latest stories. To the West Coast now, we're following the press conference that was held in Vancouver regarding the RCMP announcing they want to purge over 14,000 exhibits of evidence in the investigation into serial killer Robert Pickton. Two family members connected to the case went to the former farm where many women lost their lives to pay their respects to the victims. APTN's Tina House joins us from Port Coquitlam.
It was 21 years ago that a rookie RCMP officer conducting a search warrant for a firearms offense here on the Pickton property in Port Coquitlam, BC, stumbled upon women's clothing and other personal items. As we now know, that led into one of the largest searches in Canadian history, which led to the conviction of Canada's top serial killer. Joining me today are a couple of family members related to that case. Sarah DeVries, your mother Sarah was found here on the Pickton farm. And how do you feel being here today?
It's a really heavy feeling. It's really eerie. There are a bunch of townhouses developed in the back or the front, and they look directly at the property, which is hard to stomach.
Tell us a little bit about your mom, Sarah.
My mom was a light. She saved a lot of people's lives. She was a beautiful person. She was a writer. She was very talented. She loved to rollerblade. We miss her dearly.
Joining us today is also Lorelei Williams. Lorelei, your cousin Tanya Holick, her DNA was also found here on the property belonging to Robert Willie Pickton. How are you feeling being here at the farm today?
I'm feeling very emotional right now. It's definitely heavy here, but it just happens to be Tanya's birthday today as well, so I'm very emotional right now.
So much has happened since the trial, since the conviction, where he was convicted of killing 6 women, but 20 more were supposed to go on trial, and that never happened. Now the RCMP are moving to get rid of that evidence, as they call it, purge the evidence that they found here at the Pickton farm. How are you feeling about the police getting rid of that evidence?
I feel like the family members should have a say. I don't feel like all the family members were talked to about the decision, and I feel like the family members who want to collect their loved ones' belongings should, and those who don't should also have the option.
Lorelei, how are you feeling about the fact that the police now want to purge that evidence that they collected here during the investigation?
I feel very angry and sick to my stomach. With Tanya's case, her case is stayed. There's no justice with a stayed case. But also knowing that there's others that were involved. It's been said quite a few times that it wasn't just Pickton, there was others involved. So destroying that evidence would be getting rid of that as well. And there is no justice at all in Tanya's case. So it's very disturbing. It's horrifying to even think that they would think about this. I'm shocked but not shocked at the same time. And these things always happen around Christmas time. I don't know why we always get horrible news from the government or the RCMP in Pickton's case. It's yeah.
During that trial, a lot of evidence came forward, and yes, there were others that were implicated or that knew directly about what was happening out here at the Pickton farm. Sarah, what do you want to see happen with that case and that evidence that they've uncovered here at the farm?
I would like to make sure that they have all the evidence. As we know, he said he wasn't the only one involved. I would like to see the evidence stored somewhere and make sure they have absolutely everything. So if anything is linked to future cases, they're able to do that. Sorry, it's really hard to speak out here. It's hard to breathe. It's a very sickening feeling being out here.
You can find much more on this story over on our website, aptnnews.ca. Time for a quick break. Still to come, an old government building is set to become new affordable housing.
I'm looking forward to seeing families that need a place to live, living here.
Welcome back. In Winnipeg, the first Indigenous-led Rapid Access to Addictions Medicine Clinic, or RAM, began operation today. The RAM Clinic will be located at the Aboriginal Health and Wellness Centre in the city's downtown. Housing Addictions and Homelessness Minister Bernadette Smith says the clinic was created to provide a culturally informed harm reduction approach to the addictions epidemic. The Manitoba government is providing $1 million in annual funding for it. At a press conference earlier today, Smith said addiction treatment options are a priority for the Manitoba government.
RAM clinics are important models for our health system, and they provide substance use and addiction services and supports, including assessment, counseling, and prescriptions of addictions medicine. RAM health professionals and staff also support Manitobans who are transitioning into treatment services, including referrals to withdrawal management services, community treatment programs, and assessing primary care physicians. I know that Indigenous-led clinics, RAM clinics hosted by the Aboriginal Health and Wellness Centre, will support our loved ones living with addictions for years to come.
Still in Winnipeg, there's a new portrait hanging up at City Hall. The portrait of former Mayor Brian Bowman was unveiled on Monday. It will hang in the Gallery of Mayors surrounding Council Chamber at City Hall. The gallery was created in 1902 and features portraits of mayors throughout Winnipeg's history. As Winnipeg's first Indigenous mayor, Bowman says he's proud to have his portrait hang next to other trailblazers, including Winnipeg's first female, openly gay, and Jewish mayors.
I don't think any of them, or hopefully myself, were elected primarily because of that. They were the right people for the job at the time. But when I would especially take children around the gallery and talk to them about the former mayors, I would highlight at least the capacity for positive change that Winnipeggers have demonstrated in numerous elections.
The portrait was painted by Winnipeg artist Andrew Velko. Some eligible off-reserve First Nation members living in the city of Belleville will soon have access to affordable housing. It's part of a unique partnership between 3 First Nations and a real estate developer. Here's Annette Francis with that story.
This old federal building will soon mean a new home for some First Nation individuals in the city. For the developer, Rick Summers, it's been a whirlwind project.
We bid on the project, we closed last December. We expect to have occupancy this December. And basically within 12 months, we got a permit. We did the demolition, and we've built it out. And as you can see, there's the entire 3rd floor is essentially done, just some finishing touches. And then the 2nd floor will be done soon.
It's a development partnership between the Mohawks of the Bay of Quinte, Garden River First Nation, Missinaibi Cree First Nation, and Summers and Company. 19 of the 38 luxury units are affordable housing. Priority will be for members of the 3 First Nations, and then expanded to other Indigenous and non-Indigenous groups.
So there's a mixture. The unit types we have 38 units. There was some requirements based on the bid, and we exceeded the requirements, and we got a couple more apartments. And so we have bachelor, a lot of studio apartments. We have a lot of 1-bedrooms, and the one we're in now is a 1-bedroom plus a den. And so for the most part, it's studios and 1-bedrooms, 1-bedroom, a den, like a 2-bedroom. And again, there's only 38 units.
The building was accessed through the Federal Lands Initiative, which is a program that supports the transfer of surplus lands and buildings for the development of affordable housing.
And there's a lot of excess government buildings. So we thought it's a good decision, and very good to there's a big political thing going on right now. They're talking about all the excess federal buildings. So we think it's good as developers, and seeing it's a natural, logical solution to a serious problem.
Frank Horn is the director of Indigenous Partnerships with Summers and Company. He says the idea for Indigenous partnerships like this began 3 years ago. He's pleased with the outcome.
I'm hopeful that the partnership and the City of Belleville and all the partners at the table are as excited as I am. I'm looking forward to seeing families that need a place to live living here, and the off-reserve Indigenous community, the ones that will end up living here and making it their home. We hope that they will love it as well.
According to Horn and Summers, more partnerships with other First Nation groups are in the works in Ontario. Annette Francis, APTN National News, Belleville.
Time for one last break. Still to come, healing through beading.
I'm a new beater, my second time here, and I'm progressing quite a bit this time.
Welcome back. Let's take a look now at our photo of the day. Enjoying the view in British Columbia at Victoria's Inner Harbor. Thanks to Kyle Carter for sharing this photo with us. If you want to be featured as our photo of the day, you can send your submissions to share@aptn.ca. Now let's take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast. Starting on the East Coast, +3 in Fredericton, 5 in Halifax, -14 with snow in Kuujjuaq, snow and 8 below in Nain, -1 with snow in Montreal, flurries and 8 below in Val-d'Or, -3 and cloudy in Sault Ste. Marie, 5 below in North Bay, -7 with the sun out in Thunder Bay, sunny and 5 below in Sioux Lookout, -4 in God's Lake, cloudy and 3 below for Norway House, -2 in Winnipeg, +3 in Dauphin. 3 above for Regina, Yorkton, Saskatoon, and North Battleford. +1 in Meadow Lake, 0 for La Ronge. Mild temperatures across Alberta, 6 above in Fort McMurray, +5 in High Level in Grand Prairie. 6 in Edmonton, 5 above with the sun out in Lethbridge. 7 in Vancouver, cloudy and +3 in Kamloops. 3 above with snow in Prince George, snow and +1 in Smithers. -18 in Old Crow, +3 in Whitehorse. 3 above in Yellowknife, snow and -15 in Norman Wells. 17 below for Sax Harbor, -12 with snow in Paulatuck. -15 and snow in Chesterfield and Whale Cove. 25 below in Resolute, minus 29 in Igloolik. Some young skiers and snowboarders in Edmonton picked up some tips and tricks from Olympic medalist Mark McMorris.
For us, we're firm believers in making sport and recreation accessible to the community and to all Edmontonians.
The kids were all chosen by the Indigenous Sport Council of Alberta. They practiced on the hill for about 2 hours. McMorris is a 3-time Olympic bronze medal winning snowboarder. Grad regalia is a special way to celebrate and honor young First Nations people embarking on their next phase of life. And as Sarah Connors tells us, museum lovers in the UK will soon have an opportunity to view some of the Yukon's impressive grad regalia up close and personal.
So we have the sparkly beads around the raven, and then of course the caribou buttons.
This grad dress was a labor of love for mom Jackie Olson. Created for her daughter Ukrae, who graduated in 2017, its design pays tribute to their Gwich'in heritage. The dress is part of a Yukon First Nations grad regalia exhibit. 15 pieces from the exhibit will be displayed at Canada House in London, England next year.
You know, I've designed many dresses for grads, and I'm really excited that it's my daughter's that was chosen.
The annual Yukon First Nations High School graduation ceremony celebrates grads and homemade regalia. Pieces incorporate traditional materials, intricate beadwork, and designs reflecting First Nations heritage. An item can take up to a year to complete.
That is what drew me to creating this, is that backstory.
Curator Lisa Dewhurst says her inspiration for the exhibit is the artistry in each piece.
It's just such an example of the pride, love, and support that these families have for their children that are graduating.
The exhibit recently finished a 3-year tour in communities across the territory. It's currently being stored at the Yukon Arts Centre. Dewhurst says the focus now will be on getting the pieces ready for international travel in June 2024.
We began assembling all of the dresses here at the Arts Centre. Special crates will be built for them. Everything will have its own special little cradle and compartment to sit in.
And then she really wanted to have the back open, but to be modest, she wanted to have it covered as well. So that's why we have the fringes kind of coming down the back.
Like many other moms, grandmas, and aunties, Olson poured her heart and soul into her daughter's dress. She hopes audiences across the pond will appreciate the love that goes into every stitch.
Because when we're creating things for people we love, there's always a lot of that positive energy and you know, wishing them well that goes into it. So it's much more special. And you can see that specialness when you see the piece completed.
Sarah Connors, APTN National News, Whitehorse.
A political organization in Manitoba has started a healing program for people suffering the effects of several social and spiritual issues. As our Tamara Pimentel tells us, residential school and 60 Scoop survivors are, among others, reconnecting with their culture.
I'm a new beater, my second time here, and I'm progressing quite a bit.
For Brenda Medeiros, learning how to bead is self-healing.
I did beading one time as a little kid. I was in a boarding school. I only learned for a little bit because I was told to, and then after that I just felt like I was based on a lot of rules.
The Southern Chiefs organization in Manitoba represents 34 Anishinaabe and Dakota nations. Their Pathway to Healing program provides monthly beading workshops to people impacted by residential and day schools, the 60 Scoop, child welfare, and missing and murdered Indigenous people issues. program lead Angie Hutchinson is also new to beading.
So we know that those experiences and the history of colonization has created disconnects from families and communities as well as culture. And so this is an opportunity where we can provide a space where folks can come together to build community and to sit together and to visit and to build those connections and reconnect to culture.
These candy canes and snowflakes will be ready to share with loved ones just in time for the holidays.
I guess I'm going to have to raffle it off between my 24 grandkids. I don't know who the lucky one's going to.
Tamara Pimentel, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
Photographer Nadia Quandabens is our guest on an encore presentation of Face to Face tonight. What started out as a hobby has now taken Quandabens all over Turtle Island. The goal of her photography, she says, has always been to uplift and amplify Indigenous peoples.
And there's been many times where I almost gave up. It was, struggling artist years. There were a number of times where I almost gave up, and that when I go back to that artist statement, it just reinvigorates and rejuvenates my creative spirit.
You can catch our conversation with Nadia in less than 2 minutes' time. That is all the time we have for your APTN National News on this Tuesday. For much more, head over to our website, aptnnews.ca. I'm Dennis Ward. Miigwech Marcy, thanks for being with us. We'll see you back here tomorrow.